Hello students, welcome to my channel and please take a moment to subscribe to my channel if you want to gain full concept of any topic you want. Students, welcome to the biology class, and in this class we learn about the topic the transport of gases, which include two main topics, that are the transport of oxygen in the blood and the transport of carbon dioxide in the blood. As we know that there are two gases, major gases that are present in the blood, and that are oxygen and carbon dioxide, which we inhale. So we learn about how they are transported to our organs. Transport of gases. Since there are two types of major gases, that are oxygen and carbon dioxide, so we learn about how it is transported to our organ. As we know that blood is a major fluid in our body that is used to transport the gases that we inhale through our nose, and which goes into our blood and dissolve into our blood, and then the blood function in transporting the gases to our organs. Since we know that the oxygen is inhaled and the carbon dioxide is exhaled, which means that oxygen is necessary for our body to function, while carbon dioxide is not necessary, so it is moved out of the body. The blood goes into the lungs to become oxygenated. Oxygenated blood means that the blood is filled with oxygen. So the blood, when goes into the lungs, it is filled with oxygen, and blood filled with oxygen means the oxygenated blood move to various organs of the body where it is needed. And on the other hand, the blood that contain carbon dioxide move from various organs towards the lungs, from where the carbon dioxide is taken out of our blood and is exhaled from our body, means that it move out of our body and the blood become oxygenated. This means that the oxygen and carbon dioxide works in an opposite way. The oxygen is transported to organ and the carbon dioxide is taken from organs. Transport of the oxygen in the blood. When we inhale the oxygen, it goes into the blood where it is transported through various organs of the body. As we know that our blood contains three types of cells: red blood cell, white blood cell, and the plasma. So when the oxygen goes into the blood, about 97% of the oxygen is carried by the red blood cell and is formed in the form of oxyhemoglobin, while the 3% of the left oxygen is dissolved into the plasma of the red blood cell. First of all, we learn what is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein which functions in carrying the oxygen in our blood. When the partial pressure of oxygen is normal, mean that the level of oxygen in the blood is normal, but when the partial pressure of oxygen in the blood become high, mean that the molecules of oxygen in the blood is high, so hemoglobin binds the oxygen, mean that it attach oxygen with it, so the level of oxygen in the blood become normal again. But when the partial pressure of blood oxygen become low, means that the molecules of the oxygen in the blood become low, so hemoglobin releases more and more oxygen in the blood, so that the level of oxygen in the blood again become normal. This is the reversible reaction. Reversible reaction means that the hemoglobin binds the oxygen, means that it attaches the oxygen with it and it releases the oxygen. So it is reversible reaction, and it occurs in the alveoli of the lungs. We know that the lungs perform in carrying the oxygen and transporting the oxygen to the blood, so it occurs in the lungs in the presence of enzyme, carbonic anhydrase. Enzyme is a catalyst that fastens the reaction, so it acts as a catalyst to the reaction so that the reaction becomes fast. The molecule of hemoglobin bind with the 4 molecule of oxygen, mean that one molecule of hemoglobin has the ability to attach with the 4 molecule of oxygen at a time to form oxyhemoglobin, and it occurs in the presence of carbonic anhydrase. The ability of hemoglobin to bind with oxygen is called the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, because hemoglobin carries the oxygen into the blood. Transport of the carbon dioxide in the blood. Now we learn about how the carbon dioxide is transported into the blood. There are three ways. first in the form of bicarbonate ions, second in the form of carboxyhemoglobin, and third that it is dissolved into the plasma in a very small quantity. The first one is the bicarbonate ion. Approximately 70% of the carbon dioxide that is dissolved into the blood is in the form of bicarbonate ions. Now we learn that how the bicarbonate ions are formed. When the carbon dioxide diffuses into the blood, it means that when it dissolves into the blood, it enters into the red blood cell where it combines with water, and when the carbon dioxide combines with water, it forms carbonic acid in the presence of enzyme carbonic anhydrase. The enzyme is used in the reaction which acts as a catalyst, which is used to increase or fasten the rate of reaction, mean that the reaction become more fast and occur more fastly in the presence of enzyme. The carbonic acid, you can see that in the reaction is formed, that is H2CO3. It is not in this stable state, so it deassociates to form hydrogen ion and the bicarbonate ion. Yeah, that you can see the in second reaction. In this reaction, the HCO3 minus is a bicarbonate ion and H plus is formed. This is formed by the breakdown of carbonic acid. As a result, one hydrogen is broken down from the carbonic acid. As a result, HCO3 minus is left, which is bicarbonate ion, and hydrogen ion is released. As the bicarbonate ion is in stable state, so it does not break down further. Whenever the carbon dioxide enters into the blood, first of all, the carbonic acid is formed, which is unstable compound, and it breaks down to form bicarbonate ion and hydrogen ion. The bicarbonate ion become as a result stable. So whenever this process occurs again and again to form the bicarbonate ions in the blood, the hydrogen ion is always released as a byproduct. As a result, the accumulation of hydrogen ion in the blood occur. The accumulation of hydrogen ion means that the hydrogen ions start to increase in large quantity in the blood than it is needed. As a result, the blood become acidic. Acidity of blood means that the pH of the blood started to decrease. Since the acid has low pH, so the blood become acidic, so its pH started to decrease. This will not occur since the hemoglobin buffers the hydrogen form. Buffering the solution means that to neutralizing the pH of the solution or normalizing the pH of the blood. In this case, the hemoglobin will act as a buffer and will attach the accumulated hydrogen in the blood to normalize the pH of the blood. Now you can see in the formula, the oxyhemoglobin Hb4O2 will combine with the accumulated hydrogen ion to form HHB, which is hemoglobinic acid, and the oxygen is released as a byproduct. Hemoglobinic acid become a stable compound. Now we learn about the Hamburger's phenomena or the chloride shift. In this case, the bicarbonate ion will move from erythrocyte into the plasma. Erythrocytes are the red blood cell. So, the bicarbonate ions that are present in the red blood cell or that are formed inside the red blood cell will started to move into the plasma. To balance the ions, the chloride ions that are present in the plasma will start to move inside the red blood cells. This occurs to balance the ions on both sides. To move the ions in the opposite direction, a carrier protein is used. These carrier proteins are the bicarbonate chloride carrier protein that exists in the RBC membrane, mean the red blood cell membrane, and that is used to move the two ions in the opposite direction to balance the two ions on the both sides. So this is the Hamburger's phenomena or chloride shift, by which the diffusion of ions occur. As in the Hamburger's phenomena, the two ions move in opposite direction. The bicarbonate ion move into the plasma and the chloride ion move into the red blood cells. Now we learn what will happen with them when they move in opposite direction. So first of all, we learn what will happen with the chloride ions. So when the chloride ions enter into the red blood cell, it combine with the potassium ion that is present in the red blood cell and form potassium chloride. On the other hand, the bicarbonate ions which enter into the blood plasma will combine with the sodium ion that are present in the plasma to form the sodium bicarbonate. So we had learned that the accumulated hydrogen ion result in the acidity of blood. As a result of the whole process of Hamburger's phenomena, the blood pH is thus maintained at 7.4, which means that the pH of the blood is basic. As a result, the buffer mechanism result into the pH recovery of the blood. The second way in which the carbon dioxide is transported into the blood is in the form of carboxyhemoglobin. Only about 23% of the carbon dioxide in the blood is carried as the carboxyhemoglobin. It is formed when the carbon dioxide combines with the globin part of hemoglobin. Globin part means that it is the protein part of the hemoglobin, so carbon dioxide will combine with the protein part of the hemoglobin. This reaction depends upon the partial pressure of the carbon dioxide in the blood. When the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher in the tissues of the organ than in the blood, so the carboxyhemoglobin started to form. But when the partial pressure of carbon dioxide become higher in the blood than the tissue, so the carboxyhemoglobin started to release its carbon dioxide. As a result, the carbon dioxide started to move into the tissues. So the third part is that the carbon dioxide is dissolved in the plasma. This is the smallest quantity of the carbon dioxide that dissolve into the plasma, which is about 7 to 10% of the carbon dioxide that goes and dissolve into the plasma. This is an insufficient way, which means that it is a very small quantity to dissolve in plasma, but this process does occur. So we have covered how the carbon dioxide and oxygen is transported into the blood and how it is distributed to different organs where it is needed. So I hope you learn all the topics very well and you understand all the topics. I hope you like the video. Please like and thumbs up.